Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you for checking in at G Crochet Off the Hook. I'm G, Geraldine. I love to crochet and share what's off my hook. The last video I did was all about my log cabin blanket that I completed for my daughter. And with that video, I also did my check-in for that week's amigurumi makes. Unfortunately, I jibber-jabbered too much about my blanket, which I was so happy to complete, that the video ran so long, it was almost impossible for me to edit between the blanket and what I had for the amigurumis I had completed. So I've just decided to delete the whole mess and start a new one. So I guess I could go and change my t-shirt because I'll be doing 2 videos today. I also have an awesome batch of beanies to share, which is what I would have done until I realized, oh, you know what, I actually didn't show my Amy makes. So that's what we'll be doing with this check-in. And that is 3 completed amigurumi makes. One is a repeat from one that I had done before. And I've also completed May's Corner to Corner, which was the camper van. So let's begin with the first make that I had been looking at me for quite a while, and I couldn't decide on colors with the help of my daughter. And yes, we have just had an F1 weekend, so I'm not saying the color hints to anybody's preferable team, because our house is split when it comes to that. But I would like to introduce you to Binky the Bunny. This is a pattern by Cassandra from Craftfully Ever After, and I've had it for a while, and once I knew we had the right colors, it was all systems go. And I am so pleased with how this bunny turned out. We chose, this bunny's made with acrylic yarn. I used a 2.5mm crochet hook and Ella Yarn's Charity. And what we used was stone for the bunny's head and ears, the arms, the feet, and the little tail. And then we used a color called Syrup for his shirt underneath, and his overall was done in the color Cold Lobster. And we used this beautiful orange called Citrus for the scarf and the cat beanie. And I'm so pleased with how this bunny turned out. And of course, there's a lovely tutorial by Cassandra from a while ago, which I'll link, and she gives you some lovely instructions on how you can embroider eyes. So that's Binky the Bunny, and somebody, maybe me's favorite color for F1. All ready for next weekend's race. That's our little Binky the Bunny. This is a paid pattern. It's all Cassandra's patterns are really easy to understand and follow with clear instructions. I know last year I did another one of her patterns. I think this one was on her blog, and this really awesome little jumper that you can make for the teddy. She is the queen of teddy bears, so this is one that's not going anywhere. He's visiting here with all his other little crafty friends. So that was the first one with acrylic. And I thought I should just mention some of the stats. I think I did a while ago with one of the makes, and then I normally forget. So this is Ella Yarns is manufactured in East London. That's about 3.5 hours away from where I stay in the Eastern Cape in South Africa. So it's made in South Africa, 100% acrylic. This particular one is the DK acrylic yarn in solids and variegated colors. The solids are 100-gram balls with 233 meters or 256 yards, and it's exactly the same stats for the variegated. So that's that one out of the way. And then, of course, Jenny from In My Spare Time Crochet. I just love seeing what she crochets, and with many of the YouTubers that I follow, if you keep hearing their names or me sharing their patterns, or I just find them very inspirational. And I don't think there's anything wrong with repeating something that they might have done or said. I think we just have a chance of spreading that crochet inspiration further around the globe. So Jenny did come up with a snake pattern, and at the beginning of the year I mentioned I had trouble seeing snake patterns last year, and I just couldn't find one that I enjoyed because the heads were funny. They either looked scary or they just worked up really strangely. And then I think it was in January, I did do a Crochet Grove snake pattern. It's this little guy over here that curls, and I enjoyed the face. So that's why I landed up sticking to this one. But Jenny has, you're going to have to stay down there for a second, bud. Jenny has made snakes, and her tutorial is absolutely great to follow. It has the sweetest little face, and I'm chuffed because the length of this snake can be made with one ball of Elise Voluto. That's Elite Yarns, Elise Voluto. This is a 100-gram ball, 68 meters. That's only 74.3 yards. And it is a unbrushed polyester, micro polyester, the Elise Voluto. There's really not much to a 100-gram ball. So normally when I make plushy makes, even the patterns that I buy things for, you normally need to buy quite a few of those balls just to make one particular plushie, and it's an expensive yarn for my budget. These are about 66 Rand, and I won't know what that translates to for everybody else. And that is, especially if most of the plushies, you need at least 3 or 4 of those balls. But back to these cuties. So Jenny does have a tutorial that she shared, and it's for this gorgeous little face snake. Mine is at, by the time you finish taping off the tail, it is 56 centimeters, and I couldn't resist but make 2 for now. These are just adorable, and you get to do all the things as well, which is the pretzel twist, or just look at that. And I know that kids love to play with plushies that they can manipulate or make do. So that was my second lot of plushies that I got to do, and I had so much fun following the tutorial. And I know with the next one I make, I will just actually carry on making it longer, and see what size I get if I do use the whole ball of yarn. So that's these cuties. And then I did share previously that I made Bennie the mini dragon. And I know that this one's not leaving me. He's the one sitting as a guardian on my bucket of lavender. He is still bringing a smile to my face every time I walk into this room. But I did decide to make another one. Look at that little face. That's Bennie the mini dragon Snuggler. And this is a pattern by Just a Mom Crochet. Now, to show you the difference between the plush yarns that I have available to me, this little guy this little cutie was made using Kismet yarns. Now they're in Krugersdorp, and that is, I'm down in the Eastern Cape, and Krugersdorp is way up north from where I am in South Africa. So it's also a yarn in South Africa, and it's called Kismet Plush Velvet. The difference with this one is it is much thinner to the Elite Yarns Elise Velito. This 100-gram ball has 120 meters in, and it's 100% polyester. So this was the second plush yarn that I was introduced to when I started making plushies. And I don't know if we can see, that's the thickness of the Velluto, and that's the thickness of the velvet plush. So you do get more, and this is also more cost effective, but you do get a smaller plushie from using the velvet plush compared to what you can get from using the Velluto one. So with the Kismet one, you know you're going to get much smaller makes. I'm not tempted yet to make this little guy out of the Elise Velluto. I know he will be much bigger, but I'm already in love with the size and how this little chap turns out with the plush velvet. So cute and soft and cuddly, and he's hugging the top of my little angel here. Okay, and then to finish off with, the make that I completed for May was my corner to corner. It's a year-long cowl by Repeat Craft Me, and she is doing the half double crochet corner to corner, and it's houses. And for May month, we got a house that's movable, a camper van. And the colors that we had chosen, I was hoping, and to me it has, presented itself as a vintage camper van. So this is the 5th house for the year-long cowl. And I am using Ella yarns for this whole cowl, a 4.5mm and more clover hook. And I have a whole cupboard of charity yarn. They're the perfect use. They're the perfect material for me for when I make plushies, because you can stuff them really well. It machine washes very well. And there is such an amazing range of colors, which is that range of colors that made me choose to use this brand of yarn for all the squares that I've been doing. And yes, obviously I'm using some of the same colors and some of the same squares, but I think every square I've made so far has at least 1 to 2 new color introduced. And for this one, it was the top of the camper van, and that color is mistletoe. So done and dusted for May. I took a bit long with that one. I just think there was lots going on. And of course my little bobbins and all the colors are, I have about 2 of these containers now with all the other squares bobbins in them as well. And this was the beautiful mistletoe. And that's the lemon that I used for the sky, with the apple green, and so on and so on. I did show those colors in a previous one. And those are the makes that I've been up to for May so far. I will be popping in a little bit later on with, I think I have, 6 beanies in my next batch of beanies that I'm excited to share. And then I have been to the yarn shop twice. And why not? I'm going to show you, perhaps in another video, what I picked up in the yarn shop. But that's all for now. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening or afternoon, whenever you're watching this. And for some of you that come around for the beanies that I've crocheted, I must probably see you soon. Until then, everyone, happy crocheting!